Warm. Okay, I think I see the stream.
Stream is active.
I am resharing. And then
lower the monitor to get it out of frame. Fix.
But then since our topic is that, no spoiler shark.
Why does your shark sound like that?
All sharks sound like that.
No, sharks don't sound that way. Hi, Urim. Hi, Mai.
Hello, Urim. Hello, Mai.
Why is this the shark?
Broccoli. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Hey,
yes, Migs, it's your topic. Yay. Although we tweaked your statement into a title. So yes, we highlight the fact that yes, this is his fault.
Oh my gosh, we haven't officially started. We're already at 5. So
that's fine.
Not bad.
That's fine.
7. Ooh.
So we're establishing that Tube Guy turns on at 10, but then we'll also reactivate at 20.
Yes.
Is that it? Okay. So if we keep this up,
we have to have our milestones.
We're setting higher bars every time. Well, it's like the shark noise.
Hi, Noel.
I don't know why. Oh, why is the stream frozen in your thing?
Because sometimes things are biting.
So, yes, I don't know. Toby has given a voice for this shark. And yes, is that a shark? It looks like a dolphin. But I guess it is a shark emoji. We're still waiting for things to kind of boot up and people to jump. Oh, you know what?
I eat boots.
I have not prioritized internet to this computer.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Uh-oh.
Although, yesterday's show, we actually didn't have technical issues, which was amazing.
Jinx!
So now we're
But yeah, yesterday was the very first episode that had no hiccups whatsoever. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. And obviously, the RuPaul nature of yesterday's episode was very popular. I think we got a lot of conversations.
Shark dance milestone.
Let's highlight that. Really? Is this something you want? It's terrible. It's terrible. And I second Noel, what's the meaning of this? I don't know. So it's officially 9 o'clock. We got time. We can
give it like 1 or 2 more minutes.
Stream health doesn't look great. It's like flashing yellow. So let's see how that goes. Advance warning now to everyone who's on the stream today. We most likely won't have an episode tomorrow. We have a game. The only way we will have an episode tomorrow is if we broadcast earlier. Like, I don't know, 7:30. But then it's... why? It looks kind of blurry, you know. I'm not happy with the stream quality.
Yeah, but it's clear here.
It doesn't matter here because it's local on the computer.
Yeah, which tells you it's somewhere in transition. I mean, in transmission. It's not from our lack of light.
In transition. Mm-hmm. I'm going to check. I've never looked at YouTube during a stream. Right? Oh, there. Oh, it puts bumped in the featured side. And then it's still a little blurry, but not so bad.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube stream is better than the Facebook stream.
Not so, Toby. Not so, Abad.
Noel wonders if Tube Guy has a voice and what would it sound like. We will find out if Tube Guy inflates.
Well, he actually talks a lot. Very fast. But all we hear is...
It's a high-pitched noise.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's enough. It is
Goodbye.
officially 9:02. It is officially 9:02, so I guess we can start.
And we can start.
But you want to start officially at 9:05?
No,
5 minutes.
we just did a warm up. That's fine. I think that works out. Okay, so sorry.
Hey, this is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And I'm Shark. And if this is your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
This is completely unscripted, especially that shark, and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us and we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time, thank you so much for your continued support of our little show. As you can see, the cast of characters have been growing with each episode. But that's because we're just enjoying this so much that we hope you're enjoying it as much as we enjoy doing it.
Yes. Oh my God. I want to highlight. We'll just highlight two. We'll just do it. Okay. So, I forgot to copy the original way this question was asked. But I will cite that the original way this question was asked by our friend Migs, and I thought it was, please cover on what you think can help in gay relationships nowadays to stay together. Heart eyes emoji. And like, ooh. That's why yesterday I posted like, we rolled the topic and it's heavy. It could be heavy.
And it's touchy. Because
it is.
Because when we talk about this, there might be some people who think it's about them, or they might think it's a statement about them. When in truth, we're just talking about relationships in general.
It's not about you. That's our assurance. It's not specifically about you, like the person I'm pointing to right now. You. It's not about you. All right. So
me?
It's just.
Is it me?
The shark is totally. Not appropriate, but will help balance the mood today because this could get a little heavy. All right, so we're talking about relationship tips for all colors of the rainbow. It could primarily help out with gay relationships as the original question posed, but maybe not. Maybe there's more to it. Okay.
And special thanks to Julie for our shirts.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about what we're wearing today
because it's all colors of the rainbow.
Yes, it's the lollipop, and you can't see the full caption, which says "Too magical to hate." There, too magical to hate. Awesome shirts. Okay, so we are still happy to cycle through all of our couple shirts over the course of these episodes. We have many more. Okay, so without much further ado, we have a tip 0. So we actually came up with 3 main tips that we think will help relationships. But our tip 0, which kind of touches on the whole gay relationships thing, is that we think that the first thing you should remember is not to be limited by definitions.
Yes.
Whether they are societal definitions or heteronormative definitions. I just said that word kind of wrong. Whatever. I'm not limited by pronunciation.
I mean, plain and simple, how many of you viewers out there who are not in a normal
is meaning average, so not typical,
relationship,
not statistically common.
Find friends who mean well, but they try to place you in boxes like, so who's the girl in the relationship, or who's the wife, or who wears the skirt in the relationship?
Yeah, who's the girly one? Who's the mask one? Whatever.
And while I know that comes from an attempt to understand or an attempt to try to relate, it's just sad how there are people who feel they then have to match that, to have to fulfill it. Or even worse, they have people who literally state that's the role they're playing because it's the only way the relationship will work.
Yeah, or in the same way that there are people that, there are queer people who aren't very supportive of gay marriage for everyone because they are still holding on to that classic definition that, sorry, marriage is only for a man and a woman, or because it's a church thing, or I don't know, whatever. We are, by our very definition, sort of outside the quote-unquote norm that's been there. So why not embrace the full diversity of what your relationship as you define it can be? Okay? Yes. As long as you are both consenting adults, then what you choose to do together is totally your business.
And this goes even beyond just gender roles.
Yeah, of course.
Define your relationship the way you want it to be. You have people who live in relationships where they're very open.
Yes.
And they're very, very generous with their passion. And that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, if it works for them, who are we to judge?
Exactly. I mean, they're not hurting you. They're not forcing you to follow the same relationship. It's everybody's personal business. So there's
Mhm.
no need to put yourself in a box and all that. And yes, thank you. Oh no,
Amen. I am shocked.
Shark's timeliness may help us through this episode so that we don't get too heavy. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's our tips here, and that's the only aspect that really touches on the sort of queerness
Yes.
of all this.
Mhm.
And because ultimately relationships are relationships are relationships, and our tips, if will apply to anyone in a relationship, we feel. And then not that we think that we are relationship experts by any means, but we have been together for quite a while.
Yes.
So we've been together for over 10 years. I don't know how that's happened, despite two guys, sharks, and whatever strange voices. It's what I gotta live with. So Toby's just laughing at whatever faces he makes with this darn shark. Okay, so we have 3 main tips that apply universally to relationships. And tip number 1 is communicate.
As it's 10. Oh no, the battery's not working.
He's just like,
It's not rising.
he's had a busy night. All right. So
Communicate.
communicate. Like 7. Oh my god, that was a slow death. Okay, communication is super important. That just talk about what you're feeling with. Try to be as honest as possible. Complete honesty is not easy.
And
We
it's
will
usually
naturally,
just an ideal.
yeah, naturally we will all keep certain things to ourselves.
Mhm.
But as much as possible, if you are really in it together for your relationship, then you just keep everything open as best you can.
Yes.
Communication is super key. We are not a big fan of mind games.
Yes.
We are not people saying that, I'm unhappy and he should know why I'm unhappy
Or-
without me saying why I'm
All right.
unhappy.
I dropped all the signs. Why
Yes,
can't
I
they
dropped
get
all
that
these
I'm blah, blah,
clues.
blah, blah, blah.
Your relationship is not an escape room. Okay,
Or
so
like, you should know better.
yeah.
I'm blah, 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 blah. They should know better than to do this to me.
So say what you mean what you say, all these things. You need to be open as much as possible.
Mhm.
And depending on whatever the quote unquote rules of your relationship are, whatever contract you kind of come up with,
Mhm.
then that defines what you have to disclose. Some people like being able to access
Shark emergency! Shark emergency! We lost signal. Are we back?
Are we communicating? Are we communicating with you? We're
Someone comment if you can still see the feed because it's gone all black. We're not sure if we're back. Or is it because we reached 12? Okay, that's RB communicating over and over again. So I guess we're back.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Okay.
As-
Communication is important.
Yes. So, for example, if this was an argument between two partners right now and the battery died, then the other one would think, binabaan ako and all that, and would turn into this huge hoopla of conversations. It will turn into fights. But ultimately, if you're not saying what you want to say because you're afraid how the other person would react to what you have to say, then you're already choosing the worst, which is you might lead it to them not trusting you or them starting to think that there's something broken.
You are making an assumption about how things will go. You're not giving the other person a chance to respond, to
Mhm.
work through it together. Because if you're in a relationship,
Yes.
ultimately you're working through everything together.
And you both have the right to work through it together if you choose to.
Yeah.
If the other person doesn't want to,
Or isn't capable of it, maybe they're not in the right mental state for it.
then that already is a statement in itself that you both have things to work on. Not necessarily that moment, but at least it's something that you should look into.
Okay.
Ignoring things and just pretending that they'll go away does not help. They just
Yeah.
make things grow and fester.
The problems don't solve themselves. Okay.
Mhm.
Quick comment highlight. So first, does this apply to people already in a relationship? Yes, all of our tips are
Absolutely.
apply to people in relationships. So all the more you should be open and as honest as you can be in a relationship. I mean, even Toby and I had our growing pains. It took a while for us to redefine what we wanted to share,
Mhm.
uh, and we got there. Noel asked, "Is there a secret you haven't told each other?" Probably.
Mhm.
And and it's not even willful secrets. They're just some things that haven't come to mind. And then
Mhm.
I'm always like, did I ever tell you blank happened to me in high
And
school?
and there are also the secrets because in as much as we trust each other, we don't exactly give each other our PIN codes. We still have some level of. I mean, we can access our PIN codes if we wanted to. We sort of know
It's just
what.
Toby is super terrible at memorizing, and my passwords, I will admit, are difficult to remember. So it's really
And you
like,
also use that app.
yeah, I use a password manager, so it's like, but Toby should know, and I always tell him, hey, I've updated my master password. Your clue is this cartoon. Please remember so that you can help me.
And then he'll hear my passwords, and they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, and that's your password for everything, or
not anymore."
Yeah, so
I've learned.
he's gotten better, ladies and gentlemen. He's diversified.
But at the
a
same
bit.
time, there are also some things that we don't necessarily say because it's not like we're trying to report every single thing, every single moment it happens. There are some things that we fail to remember to talk about, or there are some things that we just don't think it has to be spoken of. But then, if there's ever a point in time that you start to wonder, maybe I should tell him about this, or maybe this should be brought up, then we talk about it.
Pico on YouTube happily shares, walking on eggshells is the last thing you want in a relationship. Yes, exactly. If you are uncomfortable because of the deafening sound of your secrets in your head, then all the more you should be talking about it and getting it out there and working on together. Why did it bother you so much? Why didn't you tell him? I mean, and yeah, again, there are things that I may not tell Toby right away, but then I do want to, and I'm always working up to it. And when I'm ready, I will.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just you just gotta get there, and it's a learning process. Our level of disclosure in our first year is nowhere near
Yes.
what we are today.
That's true.
It's an ongoing conversation that you need to have. You
Mhm.
never started your timer. I just realized.
Oh yeah, you're right. I will adjust my timer now by 15 minutes.
Really? No, make it 20. Okay, so
It's 9:15.
all right. Then tip number 2 is celebrate. Celebrate. What do we mean by celebrate? You are two individuals with different likes and all these things, and you come together to form a relationship. You do not become the same person. Although people will regularly confuse you over time, and whether they want to say Toby and Rocky or Rocky and Toby.
They were in their relationship.
Toby's gonna have a separate web show just for the shark and the tube guy one day. But it's about celebrating what
Yes.
each person does. Be each other's number one fan.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you like things in the same level
Mhm.
that that person likes it, but try to be supportive. Try
And-
to be open. To
And
it.
it's not about being plastic or hypocritical. It's not like you have to love what they love, but you have to love how much they love something they love.
Yes, it ties back to how we talk about being a geek.
Mhm.
Geekdom is passion. It is celebrating your passions, and in the same way, you should do that in the context of a relationship.
Yeah, there are far too many relationships out there where it seems it's an accepted joke that I'll have to lie to my wife about the toy I'm buying today, or they'll put false prices on it, and they'll hope they'll get away with it, and it's terrible because people react to this as if that's supposed to be okay. And
Yeah,
that's
it
supposed to be
adds
the
a
norm.
weird level of antagonism in the relationship. And then the same way, celebrating each other for who they are and
Mhm.
not who you want them to be.
Oh.
Too many relationships kind of fall into the trap of, I like this person, but then if they fix certain things, they'll be perfect. Maybe they'll get fixed over the course of the relationship. And
This
that's
messianic complex.
yeah, it's a recipe for disaster, really. You need to be able to love and celebrate the person as they are now, whether or not they improve or change over time. is irrelevant. Is this still fundamentally the person that you are celebrating
Mhm.
day after day?
And just to be also fair, if you realize the person isn't someone you want to celebrate, then why stay?
Yeah, that's a different conversation. Like,
Because you have
stop
to be
trying
fair
to change
your-
it.
You have to
Yeah.
be fair to yourself. You have to be fair to that person. That person deserves someone who will celebrate what they love. You deserve to be with someone who you will celebrate.
And
Right?
celebrates you.
Yes.
So I mean, and that's how I'm super thankful at the way, because, like, for example, I mean, I love reading novels. Toby appreciates
Struggles.
my love for novels, but does not read.
I struggle.
thoroughly.
I struggle to read books. It took me, I think, a year and a half to go through Dune. I loved it.
I
enjoyed
super
it.
loved him for trying to
But
read
I
it,
was struggling to read it. On the other hand,
and I never told him, like, you don't have to read it. It's
Mhm.
okay. I know it's a hard book. You don't have to read it.
on the flip side, I can go through 2, 3 role-playing game rule books and understand the system and grasp it.
And I still haven't read through the one book he got me for my birthday many years ago.
And ultimately,
Continue.
that just shows that you don't necessarily have to be that perfect fit that everyone in movies and love stories keep talking about. That you complete me, or now that you're there, I am everything I could be.
You are complete people to begin with. You are better together,
Mm-hmm.
but you are still complete individuals as you are, and you both contribute to the relationship. I mean, in the same way, like, Toby super loves horror, and I respectfully appreciate his love for horror. But it doesn't mean I want to watch these movies, and he watches alone while he's cooking or whatnot.
Mhm.
And I don't, like, what are you watching? And, like, oh, it's something whatever in a house. And thanks, okay, bye. I'm gonna creep away.
You
So
wanted a bigger boat.
So yes, just celebrate the people in the relationship. Celebrate who you are with. Celebrate them as they
Mhm.
are. Okay. And then we get to it's our last tip already,
See?
and we still have time. But is reciprocate, and it kind of ties to celebrate. It kind of overlaps with it.
Mhm.
Toby, how do you want to define reciprocate?
Um,
You gave the term for this.
A lot of people will think that just being okay with what the other does is enough. For example,
Hi, Jed.
No, Jed's not the example.
No,
But hi, Jed.
No, it's a long opening. We will cite the opening. Good evening, mga kabaduyets. Oh my God, he's trying to create a fan name.
No,
That's not gonna
that is-
stick.
that's so gonna stick now because we hate it.
No,
No.
but it's like Obar.
Ba, 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 ba. Okay. As I was saying,
Reciprocate.
you have people who they're the husband, and I'm trying not to specifically state who.
And the other partner. Okay.
Yeah, the husband was really into this type of game and bought the computers and all that, and would invite their friends over, and the wife would be, yeah, that's his thing, and then that's it. And you'd have these weird instances where we'd be hanging out with them, enjoying a great dinner, but then as the conversation shifts to something that the husband loves, you could feel how uneasy the other party is because they're not connecting in any way, and not this that. And then the husband eventually goes, "Okay, change topic."
Okay,
Because
how does that differ from not celebrating?
if there was reciprocation, even if the person really isn't into that, they would at least try to join the conversation or ask the other person, "Why do you like it?" and this that, and try to be engaged in it.
Okay,
The
that's
cel-
part of
The
it.
celebration is there in a personal level. It's between how you two see each other. But the reciprocation is showing that, you're not just doing it to that person. You're doing it overall. And even the friends can see that it's celebrated. Because there's always that feeling of it has to be just between the two of you.
Yeah.
And it suddenly turns into all these weird signals to friends and close associates who sometimes they don't know if they can talk about something, or they're not sure if they should mention that they'll have this thing soon in the weekend because they'll check first kung nagpaalam na or kung nag-clear na and all that.
Yeah, and to add on to this, and along the lines of reciprocation, this does not mean that relationships are transactional.
Yes.
That partner A did this, and therefore partner B must do something to match it. But reciprocation does tie into wanting to do something for the other freely and always being appreciative when stuff is done. And I mean, Toby and Toby and I have very competitive gifting moments, and we have we try to call a ceasefire. It's like, okay, that's it. You've already bought me a birthday gift. You can't get anything else. You're done. And then stuff still happens.
There's also competition with washing the dishes.
Doing chores, yes. Little things like that. Like, I can engage Toby in a conversation as he's positioning in front of the sink so that once he gets away, I can get in front of the sink and wash the dishes before he does.
And no, that is not a code word. We literally mean washing the dishes.
That is a terrible code word.
I can see some of you there thinking it's yeah.
No. So there are a lot of ways to just. So I don't know. Then I'm wondering if reciprocation is the best term for it, because there's a certain
exchange.
Generosity that I'd rather stress than an exchange. It's not about equivalent exchange, because I reread Full Metal Alchemist and we were watching Brotherhood again. So it's a willingness to give of yourself and in part of the celebration of the relationship. What else you want to add to that? Oh my God, Noella's already done quote unquote washing dishes. It legit means washing dishes. I swear. I don't want to break certain things. Wow. On a side note, Noel kumakakids. Excuse me.
I guess we can go more general tips now.
Really?
So, like, I could always cite the make or break, which I learned from my brother.
Make or break. Oof. Go on, explain.
The make or break statement was something which my brother brought up to me. There's always a point in time when your siblings are mostly about rivalries and hating each other because they're your siblings.
Okay.
But then at a certain point in time, as you become adults, if you're lucky enough, you reach that point wherein you become awesome friends and you're the most awesome friends forever. Or you flip the other way and you now hate each other for the rest of your lives. And that's where the make or break happens. When you reach this point where you realize you'll hate them so much, or you hate them so much because you love them so much and you know you'll support them no matter what. And that's what happens.
Okay, so how does this become a tip that is actionable? Because something you can put into practice.
Because that's when you have cases wherein you have people in relationships who are afraid well, actually, it's not just in relationships, but even those who are not yet in a relationship. And they're afraid to be totally honest about their feelings. Because if I do this, I risk the friendship. Or if I do this, what if she doesn't like me back? And ultimately, they're make or break moments. Because the moment you realize you have emotional connections or emotional feelings that you would like to see where they go, and you choose not to be honest about them, then you are now risking that you are faking things from that point on. And while there is a certain degree of faking in an acceptable level because there's a romantic angle,
putting your best foot forward,
because you're still waiting for the right moment, or because you're giving the person time to find themselves. There's a huge difference between that and just pretending you're the best of friend the whole time, and then later on suddenly revealing, but I'm actually in love with you. And it just turns into this mind game of sorts.
So ultimately, when Toby talks about the make or break, it is you will distill your relationship or your budding relationship into a single question. And you just have to ask the question. And thus, you push yourself into that impetus, into the make or break moment, and just get it out there. So even longest running arguments and fights, in the relationship as they drag on, sooner or later you end up needing to ask yourself, do you still want to be with this person? And then why are you fighting all this time? And what's driving all these arguments if you want to be with this person? And depending on the answer to that question, it will determine your next step.
And that next step isn't the final decision.
Yeah.
Because as always, a relationship is not just one person. It's between at least two. I am being generous.
At least two.
But the point is, you both have to come to that decision. it's understandable that in many cases one person comes to the decision and that's the decision for both of you. But then that leads to the point where you'll have to respect that decision. Because it's not fair to yourself not to, and it's not fair to that other person to force them to see otherwise. So that make or break moment doesn't necessarily mean it's about you. It's just about the relationship you have with that person. Just because that is broken doesn't mean you are. Just because you're making it work doesn't mean you're okay either. It could mean you're making it work, but you both still need to help each other out and heal the scars. So yeah, that's knowing the difference
We need a
between
shark.
you and your relationship.
that was a little heavy. Whew. But and again, it ties to everything else. That's why the importance of honest communication, the importance of celebrating one another, the importance of that generosity of wanting to show reciprocation. It all ties down to knowing where you stand and being able to understand what is most important to you. And
Yes.
in all honesty, I mean, Toby and I, of course, we didn't have a perfect relationship. We had some bumpy parts of the road, but it always boiled down to that moment, to that question. And every time we've decided that we still want to be together, and if that is the premise, we both agree that we want to stay together, then what do we need to do? And that's where we
To
would
make it
have
work.
to, we have to figure out what the plan is, what are the changes. So, and it can apply to any number of mistakes, if you want to call it that, or flaws that happen. Any argument, it really depends on the two of you.
And it's not a magic solution. It's not like after you made that decision, it's all rainbows and happy birds and all that.
I mean, it'll be great in that first week, and the makeup stuff after is awesome. But you gotta keep long term. Is that it doesn't mean you're not gonna have problems again. You will have other miscommunications and misunderstandings, but then figure out just keep in mind what's important to you. And if the answer to the question is different for each of you, then that's a different conversation, and it may not mean staying together, but it's an important conversation to have, because ultimately a relationship it has to be good for both of you.
And that's where if you try doing it, it gets easier as the time passes.
Noel has once again stressed washing the dishes. So let's talk about post fight washing dishes. No. So sorry, go on. We've lost train of thought.
Well, you have to use a lot of soap.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but I was saying, the more you do it, the more you be honest, the more you communicate, the more you reciprocate, the more you celebrate each other, the easier it gets long term.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to realize, when you have other make or break moments, when you have instances where you might find yourself suddenly facing an
Insurmountable.
Thank you. I'll have water. Sorry.
Insurmountable challenges and the like.
The more you have been doing all the others, when you have those challenges, you realize it's easier to bring them up. It becomes easier to talk about it, because you start to realize, I've gone through the scary possibilities of losing the person because I needed to talk about something before. And we're still strong. We're getting stronger. Then why should I be afraid to be honest again? And that's the better thing to develop in a relationship compared to, I hid kasi from her when I bought this before. I'll hide again. And then I'll hide again. And then eventually when it all bursts out, it'll be like, hey, today you don't celebrate me. You never gave her a chance to.
Yeah.
And it's all these little things that happen. And it's no one specifically just one person's fault. Communication is still key. So yeah. Heavy.
Was that a lot? That felt like a lot.
Yes. It felt like a lot.
Ultimately, relationships, it boils, my big message is always that it boils down to that ongoing conversation. It's a conversation that doesn't end. There's always more to share, more that you'll need to explain, more that you need to understand. And communication is not just about talking, but about listening and
Yes.
figuring out that path together. Ultimately, figuring out together. If the moment you keep thinking that I don't want to say X because it will upset the other person, you're not giving the other
Mhm.
person a chance. Um, you are putting words in their mouth and whatnot, and that those are the little resentments and misunderstandings that just slow the train down and create
And you
problems
can
down the
even be
road.
honest about stuff like that. Like, okay, I need to talk to you. Like, I've been wanting to, but I was always afraid you'll get mad. So I'll talk to you now. Don't say anything first. Then you say it.
Yeah,
I mean, you can preamble, you can explain, and that's fine because with that, you are telling each other, okay, I need to say something, I need you to listen, I need to listen, and then I need to answer after. And it's that understanding of communication that helps compared to waiting for shit to blow up.
yeah. So and I guess for a somewhat lighter example, but even think of the context of this lockdown,
Mhm.
and like we have both gone through stuff,
Mhm.
emotionally, mental health wise, whatnot. It's natural because it is a very stressful, long running stressful situation in
Yes.
these unprecedented times. And as much as there's that weird instinct that you don't want to burden your partner about it,
Mhm.
you don't want to talk about it, and you interiorize it first. Or there's and I totally get it, you want to talk to friends about it, but not your partner about
Mhm.
it. And that's okay initially. But eventually, the only thing that really, really helped me through my heavier moments was like just sitting down with Toby and talking about it. And then it's for us, it's like little things like, I'm sorry, I haven't been in the mood to play board games as much because blah blah blah. In my case, it's like,
And that's real board games.
Yeah.
It's not a code word.
now you've made it a code word. But like when we talk about, I don't want to play board games because there was a point in this quarantine where playing board games just with Toby reminded me that I can't play board games with our other friends,
Mhm.
and we can't have our regular game nights.
Mhm.
And it's a reminder of we're not allowed to go out, and we're all physically distancing. Same thing with like drinking at home felt a little weird initially because we only really drink with friends at Obar.
We wanted our waiters, we wanted our friends,
We wanted
our
the
drag
show.
queens.
So so it's weird that little things like this that should make you happy because the context situation is different, then it made me unhappy, and it took me a while to realize it, but in the end it was talking through it with Toby that helped me. Your partner in your relationship, or partners, if that is the case,
Mhm.
are supposed to be the people who are going to stick by you and are going to help you through the bad stuff.
And you
They're-
can even say beyond romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Your friends.
Your core friends are like that. Toby's tried to change the alarm sound. It is now a duck. Is this better? I don't know if this is better. Now the shark is quacking. How do you stop this thing? Okay. Counterintuitive Apple devices. All right. But yeah, that covers our show. Any other comments you want to highlight
Yeah,
other
let's
than
look through. Nakaka-pressure naman. Yes, it was a heavy moment. It was a lot of
yeah, can you imagine break it or fake it? No, so not even fake it because the fake it.
the
When you
only
fake it, you're lying to yourself. It's harder. in
the
long
only
run.
place that you are allowed to fake it is work or theater.
or reality TV.
No, I hate reality TV.
Then it's
when they
called
fake
then it's called nailed it.
it.
No, I'm sorry. That was
But
a
yeah.
terrible segue.
What else?
Pressure. Yes, because relationships are hard. They need a lot of work.
Mhm.
You just gotta go with it.
And we're talking about actual relationships.
I don't know. I don't know what you what do you mean by that? What do you mean?
That they're hard and they need a lot of
Okay. Hi, Brian. See, just lighter stuff. Hi, Brian. And you once again people quoting washing the dishes. And now there's board games.
Mhm.
Um,
And yes, a lot of people have stated how heavy it was. And
after all, you rarely wash the dishes with friends. Well, we do wash the dishes at friends' houses when we game there. Okay. Migs, are you happy that we covered it this way? I hope you appreciate what we came up with. It was a lot. It was a lot. Thank you for contributing this topic as heavy as it was. I think it was a important conversation to have, and hopefully we provided some insightful advice that
Yep.
people can help. And then finally, GM says, best alarm GMR ducks. Okay. Wow, we're gonna start outro, guys. We're gonna
Yep.
start the final recap.
And mind you, that was already with a few additional minutes because we're way beyond.
We
30
are
minutes.
over time, ladies and gentlemen, but I guess it makes up for. So again, wait for all in the stream. Reminder: tomorrow, most likely no episode. If we can force an episode, it'll have to be earlier. We will announce sometime in the afternoon, hopefully earlier than today. Today we took more time to talk about the title and what are we going to talk about. What are we going to talk
Mhm.
about? We've been puzzling over it the whole day, and work was super busy. But we were glad we still got to do the show.
We do have our first complete stranger who joined
Yesterday's
and
stream.
said hello.
Yeah.
So
But he
that was-
didn't join today.
so that was just a surprise.
That's cool. And we hope to get more people watching. And I'm hoping for more insights in the long
Mhm.
term.
We hit 10. We haven't hit 20. So that's the goal. That's the goal.
We got as far as like 15 on Facebook. So
But
a-
that's 30 minutes. And we had a lot of fun. We hope you will join us next time.
If you have a suggestion for future topics or you just have questions you want to ask us, then feel free to ask at the forum, Baduy Pride Ideas. We are already in conversations. We're trying to map out guests or interviews, especially featuring the Odivas to help support them during this period. I'm gonna what? What are you reacting to?
Urim's comments.
Oh wait,
No,
it starts with my
Yes.
Kabaduyets new lingo watching
Oh my God.
Bye Kabaduyets. Oh no.
Oh no.
This is how Ovarian started, you know. We're quite a fan of the term, but it's stuck. So that's a thing. For that question, you can please follow us on social. Toby is all Toby No Shade on Twitter. I am RG Sunic on Twitter and everywhere else.
The shark doesn't have Twitter yet.
There is an actual blog for baduypride.com where you can find out more about some of our relationship highs and lows.
Mhm.
And more importantly, it's where you can easily watch embedded YouTube streams of
the previous
previous
episodes.
episodes. Yeah, so you can at least get the links there. Then if you want to watch it full screen, you can jump to YouTube after that.
So
Okay.
as always, you can submit us any suggestions or ideas that you'd like to have us touch on as a topic.
Yes.
But we reserve the right to choose the ones we'd rather talk about.
Yeah, so like we're not going to talk about Kabaduyets. That I think we're nixing that one. Okay.
unless we have Noel as our guest, and we'll call our guests the Kabaduyas.
Oh yeah, okay. If you're gonna make this term stick, we will invite you on the show and call you Kabaduyet to your face.
Today's Kabaduyet.
Okay. Again, feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you think about relationships. How can you help relationships stay strong, especially in a time of COVID? Be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy Pride. End screen. Okay. Shark again? All right. End screen.